Hi, this is Jody Herrera, and this is my last assignment, Prostitution Nowhere to Turn. Reasons why young girls become prostitutes is child abuse, child neglect, child sexual abuse, domestic violence, poverty, and insecure family bonds. The reactions to these negative actions is low academic success in school, drug use, illegal activities, reckless sexual behavior, and running away. The President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, was created in 2003 by the Bush administration. It's a funding source for people worldwide with AIDS. There was an anti-prostitution pledge that was installed into PEPFAR that was promoted by a bunch of groups, pro-women groups. They felt that prostitution should not be included in the PEPFAR. That led to difficulties with agencies because the agencies had to screen everyone to see if they were prostitutes or not, because they were not able to receive services or there was no funding. The difficulties for the sex workers is they could not receive condoms, blood tests, or viral medications that they could use. The U.S. Supreme Court in June 2013 overruled the pledge, saying that it was not constitutional, that it took away freedom of speech from non-governmental agencies. This unfortunately did not change the fact that many prostitutes died because they could not receive services. The law. The federal law was in place that said that all the states were to come up with some kind of safe harbor law. There's actually 39 states to date that have some form of the law, and it is open for interpretation. This is for prostitutes under the age of 18, that they should not be prosecuted and should receive services to help them out of their situation. Unfortunately, it is open for interpretation, so there are still girls that go to prison. No assistance from the law. Sexual assault, brutality, witness murder, attempted homicide could implicate herself. These are things that could happen if she tries to step forward and tell a police officer that that is happening to her. They're not going to help her because it would implicate her, and then she would end up in prison. She cannot exercise safe sex. In Washington, D.C., Las Vegas, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York City, they actually use condoms against prostitutes. So if they find condoms on a prostitute or condoms that were in use, those are actually put as evidence in the courtroom. Circles of sexuality. Sensuality, feeling of physical attraction. Sex workers do not really have an opportunity for physical attraction. They're there to do a job. Intimacy is their vulnerability. They trust no one. So they're vulnerable to their pimps, to the johns, to the police, to everyone, and to their home life. Sexual identity, their gender role. They just view themselves, sex is not a beautiful thing, it's a thing just to make money. Reproduction and sexual health, there's actually sexual activity there, and they do get pregnant, they do receive STIs, so it's just a negative side of sexual activity. And then sexualization is rape and assault, and this happens often with sex workers. Trauma-informed care. Safety, there is no safety for prostitutes at this time, so it is important for agencies to work to make sure that they feel safe. Trustworthiness, again, they have no one to trust. So having the agencies work with them to form trust and to keep trust is important to these women. Giving them choices is something they haven't had. The only choices they've had is to continue their sex work or to commit suicide. Collaboration, working with the sex worker to help her get out of her situation is another good thing with the trauma-informed care. Empowerment, Empowering these women is a great thing because they have low self-esteem and do not feel that anyone cares for them. Social justice. These women are victims of abuse and domestic violence at home. They leave home and discover that they have no money, food, or shelter. They have limited education, no trained skills. They have to sell sex for money. They acquire STIs, get raped, they get murdered, they go to drugs, and they commit suicide. Survival becomes a criminal act for them. So just because they're trying to survive, the cops can put them in prison. And they also cannot use protection because that can be used against them. Barriers of exiting prostitution. They cannot return home to unhealthy living. They may face conviction charges or imprisonment, drug addictions, intimidation, dishonesty, and hostility from pimps. They may be homeless, lacking education, poverty, normalization from other sex workers, no employment skills and criminal backgrounds, trauma, and no choice to continue sex work or commit suicide. Phases of exiting, new habits versus old habits. Forming new habits is difficult for them. Positive association with relatives and professionals such as social workers and doctors. Healing process, they need to lift their self-esteem, stabilize emotions, improve mental health. It's important for agencies to consider their life experiences. They have to be able to accept and obtain agency assistance. There comes a time when there's disenchantment for the prostitute. So that would help lead to exiting, but they may repeat these steps many times before they decide to actually exit. And it's generally older sex workers that are more apt to exit than younger prostitutes. The solution is to remove laws that make prostitution illegal. There's a better chance of receiving help from the law and helping the law. Cracking down on sex systems. Actually, they could help lure in pimps and johns to have them arrested and take down like the whole sex system. They could add more prostitution rehabilitation centers and funding because they're very scarce around the country. Police, social workers, churches, schools, ex-sex workers, and agencies can help to steer them in the right direction, give out cards, flyers, and set up websites for these women to find the agencies that they need. Free parenting classes is another good thing. This could actually prevent some of the women going into prostitution, and mandated parenting classes for parents that have been found that have abused their children. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Thank you.